welcome back to Post Projects and Project International Rat. It's finally time to chop the top. It's only episode 2 for you guys, but I've been looking at this cab for 6 years, and to be honest, I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to screw this up, and I don't think I've got everything perfectly figured out, but I think I've got enough to get started. So I put the tape. I got marker on here, but it's hard for you guys to see on camera, so I put the tape. But we'll start here. This was the best place to cut the A-pillar. Now, most guys put the door in and then cut these at the same time, but I didn't want to do that. And I did help my buddy cut that one top a long time ago, and I noticed, I just don't think it's the best way to do it. So what I did is I found 4 inches here where this is the exact same size top and bottom, because this whole thing kind of snakes in and out. And this is the best spot to cut 4 inches out. But the best spot to cut 4 inches out of the door is probably about here, so they don't line up. Same thing back here. Well, actually back here I could have done it. Right here would be the best place to take 4 inches out. I'm doing it down here for different reasons, but I could have done the back at the same time, but it was never my intention to do the door at the same time. Now I'll just quickly pull the door off. So we've got a really good solid sill down here, and I mean the whole back, you've got this ribbed section back here. The whole structure of the cab is pretty sound. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I've got some bars cut. And I'm just going to weld these in here, and that's going to keep the structure from collapsing once the roof is gone. Not that I think it would really move at all, but let's lock it in, because the door, when I lay the door in there, the gap is pretty good. So this will kind of help lock that in place. And also the door can go on with this here, so I can cut the door, put the door in, and then fit the door while maybe this isn't fully welded up, and I'll just have some options there. Now the part that I'm worried about, let me show you that. So some guys want to narrow this window down. I don't. I think visibility is going to be low enough in this. This is a narrow enough window. This is probably going to be similar size to the side windows. I think it's just right, and I don't want to mess with it. It's in great shape. Just one less headache. So I want to keep it right where it is. Now most guys would take it and lower that down, but it actually sits a little bit lower than the windshield as it is now, and I think it's the perfect height. So I believe it's about the same height as the doors, and those aren't coming down, so we're gonna leave it as is. Also, from about here up is really shit roof. Now maybe once it's cut I'll be able to work that. I'm not that optimistic though. It's just, there's too much. This corner I was determined to get, and I will get that good enough, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure what's going to become of this. So my thinking is, if I want to leave this here, so I'm not cutting down here. I mean, I could cut it right here, but I don't have like good roof that I'm trying to save the curvature of. So I'll probably end up cutting it off there. But for now, I'm going to leave all this, and I'm actually going to cut my line across the roof here. And then normally someone would cut right in the middle, and then they would add a little 1 inch or 2 inch strip once the top is down, and they would fill that in. But I'm gonna have to probably add in like a foot strip that's, short of having an English wheel. I'm not sure how I'm gonna make this work, so that's why I'm a little concerned. I might end up having to make some cuts in the front section of the roof to flatten it out like my original plan. But this curve won't be needed, because this is going to stay right here, and this is going to come down 4 inches. So I'm hoping I might get away with just, working these side sections a bit and just being able to put in a flat piece. But you know, I've watched lots of videos over the years and a lot in the past week of guys chopping tops, and no one's done it like this. There's 10 different ways to do it, and for some reason I have to do it the 11th way. And I don't know, I keep going over it in my head. I marked it all out last night and slept on it, and I still think it's the best idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. What I'm gonna be using for almost all the cuts is just a 6-inch angle grinder. I'm hoping the 6-inch is just enough to get through both this and the inner panel. If not, I also have a Sawzall. I'll probably need a Sawzall to finish up the A-pillar as well. But the plan is we're gonna cut the A-pillar first, remove that whole front section, take that out, lay it on the ground, and then I'll remove each corner, and then we'll have a look. The typical way this is done is you take, if you're doing a 4-inch chop, you take 4 inches from here, you chop this down, and then you hold this section up, because this isn't dropping down. Like if I take 4 inches here, that doesn't equal 4 inches here because it's coming down on an angle. However, these back corners are going to be so much easier to handle than the whole front half of the roof and all of that top panel. So I'm going to go ahead and just take 4 inches out of here, fit that back to there, and I don't know if I'm able to lay it in place, tack it in place, whatever I got to do to hold it in place. And then I'll hold up each corner and trim. So it might be 3 3/4 inches that I need to cut off here, and I'll just do that on the bench. Usually you would leave it and you would cut it off on the body, which is what I'll do here. I'll cut here and then here, but these will be small sections, easy to work with on the bench. It's amazing just how quick that all comes off. So I've got everything prepped. I just kind of wire wheeled off the paint, took a file on the insides. Now the section that I removed from here, the 4 inches, I actually cut it up into 3 pieces and put it on here. Let's grab the camera and show you closer. So I just use them so that they have the same contour, and my hope is that it's going to help me line up the roof a little bit better. It'll probably make it harder to get on initially, but I'm hoping that it helps line everything up better. And also it gives me a little bit of a backing strip that now I can put a little extra heat into it when I'm welding it.
You gonna hold that side? Can you lift it? Okay, now you're gonna kind of line it up with this thing here in the front, and then I will put it in, okay? You just hold it right there. Yeah. Don't try to fit it in, I'll get it in.
Is it getting heavy?
Yeah.
Like, come save me now, Daddy, heavy, or hurry up, heavy?
Hurry up.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you're okay.
Well, that went even better than I expected. I mean, it's obviously not perfect. It's going to have to get tweaked, but there's currently nothing supporting the backside of it, and all the weight is being supported just by it slip fitting on there. And I must say, it looks pretty good. I probably could have chopped a little bit more out of it, but I think that'll be good. In order to get the roof in the right position in the front, I mean, it could get tweaked up and down a little bit. You can see I got this ratchet strap on it now to hold it where I think it should go. I want to get this curve just bang on with the door, so I got to cut the doors first. So I've marked out where I want to cut them on the door. I just kind of picked the best back on the back. This 4-inch section, this top should line up with the bottom perfectly. There is no good spot on the front, so I'm gonna have to end up working the inside edge, but that's like where the window goes. But the outside edge, I just noticed where it stopped being straight and started the curve, and that's where my 4 inches will start. But I'm actually gonna cut it down on the lower of the two marks, and that way it'll be past this one right here, and same on the back side, so that I can kind of make the top of this right. So the nice thing about how I did the little strips in here is this kind of stays in place. So I don't need to tack it. I can fit it with this side. I do have the ratchet strap to hold it to get it kind of where I think it needs to be, but it kind of makes everything line up pretty well. Now I use these little guys, which I have one here to show you. That's what they look like. I actually bought them like 5 or 6 years ago, I think, maybe for this project, and they've been sitting in my toolbox ever since, never been used before, but they work really good in holding a seam tight. And I got a couple of them back here. However, because there's that inner panel, I won't actually be able to use these back here permanently because I wouldn't be able to get the pieces, the little piece on the inside that's holding it tight. So I think what I'm going to do is the same thing I did here, I'm going to do back here, so that everything kind of is held in place, but is still enough movement for me to line everything up. I put the door on there just because I wanted to see it, because it looks pretty cool. And it's just kind of laying in there and held with the latch on the back. The top section will need to be cut and expanded for that. And before I put the door up there, I was kind of just holding this in the front and the back. And the front is in a good spot. I like where the front is sitting, but the back needs to come down some more. Now, I cut 4 inches out of here, and remember how I said that 4 inches here isn't exactly 4 inches here? So I cut 3.5 inches back here, and I need to cut some more. So I'm going to take another 1/4 inch off here, and I'm going to put some plates, backing strips in here to try to help with lining everything up, and then see if I can't get this, because right now this and this one don't quite line up, and ideally you'd want these two to line up and this line just to line up, so that the top of the door frame is gonna be easy to space. I'd like to actually cut the door frame ideally, just like here and here. I'd like to cut the door frame somewhere over here so that the cut isn't right here. Just I don't want to capture a misalignment and it just kind of look like, oh, okay, well, obviously things were cut here, nothing lines up. Whereas like right here, here's your cut, and then here's the door, and I want it to kind of look seamless. Even though I probably will leave the body raw and you'll see that the metalwork was done there, I want it to look good. Everyone has a different version of a rat rod. I want mine to be not hacked, and unfortunately a lot of rat rods are. So we're gonna see. Let's trim this and see if we can't get this perfect. So as you can see, I did the same thing here by putting the section I cut out, putting it in here. It's gonna add a little rigidity here, but also like I can't get to, because there's an inside and outside panel that are connected. If I blow through, it's gonna just be a real pain trying to fill it. So having a backing strip for welding it would just be great. So I decided to just basically do the whole thing. It's just gonna be in here that doesn't have a backing strip, but that's all right. I'll just be careful in there. So let's hope that this fits on here nice and easy. Of course not. Inside and outside panel are fighting. Voila. Something like that. Now, this is interesting. So grab the camera here. You can see here how they don't exactly want to line up. And even though I only took off another 1/4 inch, now it really doesn't want to line up. So after humming and hawing over this for a bit and thinking, oh no, what happened? Like, this is such a big misalignment. This all, it moves, right? I mean, there's a lot of thin material here and it can kind of twist 10 different ways. This needs to line up as it is. And that can kind of get tweaked and forced afterwards. And there's still lots of movement up here, but I kind of want to lock this in. Now, part of me thinks maybe I should just drill a couple of holes and Cleco it, because I do have that backing strip, so I have that option, but I don't know, I just kind of feel like I think I'm going to be okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and tack it here and here, and then we'll use the those little clamps that I showed you before and see if we can't get that pulled together. And in the worst case scenario, I got a couple of tacks to cut, but yeah, see if we can make this work. We haven't pulled this thing out too much. That's lining up. I think I can work with that. Let's see the front angle here. Okay, that's, you guys can tell that that's lining up pretty decent. I think what I'll try to do is, instead of having one clamp here in the middle, I'll put two clamps here to hold that really good. And then, now that I like how this jam is lined up, well, you know what? I like that one for the most part. Doesn't line up perfectly on the inside, but that's just more or less, it was the best place to cut it, but everything out here looks great. So, I can probably, I'll double clamp that, and I'll tack this side. Then I should be able to tack it up here, and that'll kind of have it all fixed in place. So there you have it. I think it's looking pretty good. See, everything's lining up fairly decent. There's lots of room for all this to move and play around. I'm still not sure what I'm doing with all this back. This can push down quite a bit. You can see right here at the top of the window, right here, like it's above where this starts to curve in. So I might have to use a little heat and try to push that whole thing in, or I'm not really sure. So you can kind of see it. I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. It could be just because of the buckle in the roof here and this is throwing everything off, but it's almost kind of looking like it's just the top of this isn't really straight. It's like it's going back. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm gonna think about that for a bit. But I am gonna end the video here. I wanted to get, the job isn't done, but we kind of got, you know, the one side fit up. The next thing to do, I think, is going to be the door. I mean, I could do this on the other side as well, but I kind of feel like I want to just do one side and get everything tacked. So the other side will probably go a lot faster then. And also, if something's not working, you know, I haven't wasted any time on the other side, and I just kind of get this the way I like it. So the door is going to be next, and that'll be on the next video. I might actually make the hinges first. Not 100% sure on that. Originally I was going to do suicide doors, but when I realized that the factory latch mechanism and everything was working perfectly, I think making a couple of hinges for the front is going to be a whole lot easier. So I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work out, but next episode I'll probably make hinges and then tack up this door frame, and then we'll kind of have a finished look. And then I'll do the other side, and then we can kind of figure out what we're going to do with this roof. I mean, obviously I'm not going to be reusing this top part, but I need to get all of this in. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to move the window down. I'm not sure. But stay tuned. Next time we'll figure that out. If you like what I'm doing, let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment. Give me some feedback. If you think it's all shit, let me know that too. I love to hear that. Either way, peace.